Ritz Carlton is teaming up with Berjaya Corp to expand its presence in Malaysia. But just how does it take for this classic brand to keep its image fresh in a time when consumers are spoiled for choices? We speak to its Vice President of Global Residential Operations, John Hearns, on what it takes to not just maintain, but grow the brand. So John, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Now, travelers or affluent customers, you name it, they have been traveling around the world. They live in hotels like Four Seasons, Mandarin Oriental. With all these choices, they are spoiled with choices, of course. How do you keep your brand fresh?
Yeah, Charlotte, that's a great question. So one of the things that I think is important about the luxury branded residential business is that you always aspire to be relevant to our customers. Part of it is the product, so we continue to evolve our product from a residential standpoint. The other thing is that we really work hard to develop a lifestyle that continues to resonate with the luxury customer. So the services that we offer today are different than maybe the services that we offered yesterday. And I think all of the major brands are doing that. Ritz Carlton, we have a lot of pride that we think we do an exceptional job creating a lifestyle where customers really find the value.
But with customers struggling with high inflation, lower spending power perhaps, so do you see any slowdown in the luxury property market?
We really don't. I mean, one of the things that's important is that we aspire to a very limited number of customers. So here in Kuala Lumpur, for example, there's only 288 customers that will ever call the Ritz Carlton residences in Kuala Lumpur home. Around the world, there's only 3,000 owners worldwide that get to call the Ritz Carlton residences their home. And so while the market may be shifting, we don't see any slowdown because there's a confluence of the global affluent tribe, the global affluent customer. They're increasing at a pace that still allows our residential business to flourish.
Now, Ritz Carlton, right now you guys have about 45 residences. Some of them are standalone, some of them are co-located. So what's your plan of growing residences in this region for the next, say, 5 years?
Yeah, I think the word that I would use is opportunistic. So where it makes sense to have residences with a hotel, then we'll obviously develop that. And an example of that would be in Shanghai, where we're developing a Bulgari hotel with Bulgari residences. But there may be opportunities here in Asia yet to be determined where a standalone property would be appropriate. I think you have to sort of look at every market here in Southeast Asia a little bit different, and we'll look at those opportunities one by one and determine whether a co-located site or a standalone site is appropriate.
So just now during your keynote address, you mentioned that you're growing residences to 9 by 2020. Have you identified the locations already?
Yeah, what I mentioned earlier was we're growing our standalone residences to, I think, 9, but we're growing our entire portfolio to 60. And those properties are already either under construction or about to start construction. Some of the most notable locations are in Dubai. We're building a beautiful Dubai residences. We're building in Bermuda, in Los Cabos. And I mentioned earlier in Bangkok. So if you look at our 45 open locations, we hope to open 15 more within the next 4 years.
Now, I realized something different from Four Seasons. They actually rent out their residential units for travelers. Do you do that?
Yeah, Charlotte, we call that a condominium hotel. And we do have actually 8 locations around the world where an owner will purchase a Ritz Carlton residences, and then they'll sign a rental agreement with the Ritz Carlton, and then we'll rent that on their behalf, and then we'll give them a portion of that rental. So in Bermuda or Los Cabos, we're opening a certain number of those residences are going to be part of that condominium hotel structure.
What kind of challenges do you see when you go into luxury property market?
Well, I think the first thing, that's a great question. I think the first thing you have to realize is, as I mentioned earlier, a brand has to get permission from the customer to enter into the business. And so, as you can imagine, when we opened our first residences in Washington, D.C., there were many skeptics that were obviously saying, we understand you're in the hotel business, but what do you know about running the residential business? Surprisingly, with 45 residences, we don't get that question anymore because we've established a legacy. So the challenge is when you're trying to start a brand extension is sort of to convince the customer that you really are serious about being in it and that you're actually very good at it.
We have seen some standalone or standalone hotel or apartment operators, and they are operating in much smaller scale if you compare with Ritz Carlton, but they are flourishing. Like Airbnb, they are hiring these people to manage the property, manage the host's property, of course. But do you see this as concerned?
I don't think we do. I mean, there's obviously what's great about the residential business. There's the luxury business, and then there's other levels of the business, no different than the hotel business, from limited service to luxury. We enter the business to try and create trust and loyalty amongst our owners. But there are some owners that, for example, that after they buy a Ritz Carlton residences, they actually hire a separate property manager to manage their business. And so we certainly support that. Our goal, though, is when the owner is there at the property, that we deliver a luxury lifestyle experience to them.
Despite the economy slowing down, luxury brand Ritz Carlton is still thriving, and with the aim of building 15 more residences by 2020, it's intent on broadening its reach.